Children, we were moving towards to the chapter India's foreign policy. In our previous class, I'd already explained to you about non-alignment movement, the aims of Panchashil, reasons for following the non-alignment policy, needs for economic developments, need for peace, and Bandung Conference in the year 1955. Now, we will be moving towards to Belgrade Conference. Belgrade Conference, or can be called as the first summit of non-aligned nations. First summit of non-aligned nations, and this summit, this meeting, this conference was been held in September 1961. Okay. Now, today I'm going to move towards to a conference which is known as the Belgrade Conference. This was the first summit. It was the first meeting of all the non-aligned nations, and it was been held in September 1961. In this conference, the leaders of 25 non-aligned nations, countries like Afghanistan, Algeria, Burma, this is Myanmar, Cambodia, Congo, Cuba, Ghana, India, Indonesia, Mali, Morocco, Sri Lanka, Sudan, and former Yugoslavia attended the Belgrade Conference. Okay, these are the countries. These are the countries who attended the Belgrade Conference. 25 non-aligned nation countries, the leaders from these all countries, they attended this conference. The conference was attended by Jawaharlal Nehru of India, President Tito of Yugoslavia, and President Nasser of Egypt. So please remember the most important, the architect of this conference we can call like important leader Jawaharlal Nehru, under whose initiative, under whose this effort the conference was been held. Jawaharlal Nehru of India, President Tito of Yugoslavia, and President Nasser of Egypt. So these are the most important leaders who had really given a great effort for the non-alignment movement. The most important, the popular, the famous leaders who attended this Belgrade Conference in September 1961, Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru of India, President Tito of Yugoslavia, and President Nasser of Egypt. These three are considered of the founding fathers of NAM, which I have told you. These three can be called as the founding fathers of NAM, non-alignment movement. I told you before also, they had played a very vital role. They had played a very important role. It was with the great effort of these three important leaders, Jawaharlal Nehru of India, Tito of Yugoslavia, and Nasser of Egypt, has started this movement called non-alignment movement. So these three can be called as the founding fathers of NAM. The conference adopted 27-point declaration, and the objective of the non-alignment movement were clearly pronounced at the first summit at Belgrade. Okay, some more objectives were later on included and more specific. It was made more specific in this conference. The conference where Belgrade Conference, okay, in Belgrade Conference, 27-point declaration, and the objectives of non-alignment movement were been made clearly to all the nation. Okay, and it was first pronounced at the first summit at Belgrade. Now let's see what are some of the objectives. Number one, abolition of imperialism and colonialism. Imperialism and colonialism should be completely stopped. Through imperialism, the superpower always exercised their control and domination over other countries, which we know very well, because we were also one of the country. India was also one of the country who had faced this problem, who had been dominated by from the colonial problem. Okay, we were being colonized by England, English we call it. Okay, the one of the Western power. So see, through the process called imperialism, these superpowers had really controlled and dominated other countries. So which were the countries that were being highly dominated by the Western powers? The countries of Asia, the countries of Africa, and the countries of Middle East. These were the countries who have been completely captured. It was been colonized by some other European countries, and it was been completely dominated. Now, non-alignment movement, what did it believe? It believed in the principle of self-determination, natural equality, and freedom of all nations. So this is what NAM believe. Everyone should be self-determined. Yes, self-determined. Yes, this is my country. This is our country. We can rule our country on our own. We don't need any other countries, the foreign powers coming and dominating us. Not only that, freedom from all nations, freedom of all nations. All countries should be free. That means should not come under the domination of any other country. Number 1 point. Maintenance of internal peace. The most important formation of NAM was the maintenance of internal peace and security of all the states. See, this is the basis. The main important objective for the formation of NAM was to maintain internal peace and just to give a security to all the states. Naturally, NAM felt that the course adopted by them was the correct way and solved the rivalry of the different states. So, yes, obviously, this is the right way. This is the great step taken by NAM so that everyone can live in independent, everyone can live, all the country will be independent country. They'll be living on their own. Other countries are not being dominated. So this is what they wanted, NAM wanted. Is it clear? So they think that this NAM, the movement which we have started, it is the right way, it is the correct way, and we can solve all the enmity of the different states. Disarmament. See, during after the Second World War, when it was a period, it was an era of Cold War. The world was being divided into two superpower blocks. The arms race started. Now here, the most important objective of NAM is to disarmament. NAM always opposed the manufacture, possession, and use of nuclear weapons on the enemy states. See, every time non-alignment movement, whoever belonged to most of the non-aligned nation, they every time opposed, they every time protested manufacturing and using of nuclear weapon on the enemy states. So that should be banned. That should be completely stopped. Nuclear weapon, okay, minimize the manufacture of nuclear weapon, and the nuclear weapon should not be used on the enemy state. This movement also directed against all forms of racial discrimination, and the most important thing is that non-alignment movement, it was completely against any form of racial discrimination. No one should be discriminated on the race. No one should be discriminated on the basis of their colors. Is that clear? Got it? So NAM, this movement was completely against all forms of racial discrimination. New International Economic Order, NAM, or non-alignment movement, completely believed that the present economic system was based on inequality. See, obviously, the economic system which it was there during those period, okay, it was completely based on inequality. Inequality means some of the countries were being highly developed economically, they were very highly established. There were some of the countries which the economic condition were being highly deteriorated. Their economic condition was very, very poor. So in that state, at the present economy, okay, what NAM believed was that the present economy was based on inequality. So the NAM members pleaded for a new international economic order, NIECO. So NAM members, all the members of NAM, they specially requested for the introduction of a new economic system which were called as New International Economic Order on the basis of equality. Everyone, economic equality should be provided to all the countries of the world. It doesn't mean that economy will be only in the hand of some of the powerful countries. It's not that, okay? Next, enforcement of human rights. Most important objective, try to understand, my dear children, most important objective of NAM movement was the enforcement of human rights. Human rights should be enforced. Human should be guaranteed with their rights. Is that clear? And not only that, they also gave more stress, more pressure on cultural equality. Okay, everyone culture should be respected. Everyone culture should be treated equally. Is it clear? Got it? So there should not be any differentiate. There should not be any discrimination between a culture of one or the another countries. Now, I hope so you understood these three great leaders: Jawaharlal Nehru of India, Tito of Yugoslavia, President Nasser of Egypt, can be considered as the founding fathers of NAM. Now, let us move towards to Cold War versus NAM. As I've told you, that was the era of Cold War, and most of the countries who have been recently got independent, okay, African nation, Asian nation, Middle East nation, okay, they started the movement called NAM, non-alignment movement. So let us try to understand between these two. The word non-alignment was coined and used by Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of independent India. Jawaharlal Nehru, he was the person to use the word NAM for the first time. He believed that Indian freedom struggle was a part of the worldwide struggle for freedom and progress. See, what he believed is that, yes, we started a movement as a freedom struggle or a freedom movement against British, you know very well. So that he said that movement, that freedom struggle, it is one of the part of worldwide struggle. So that because of we started that movement, freedom, thereafter other countries also, other Asian countries, other African countries also started the movement to free themselves from the colonial powers. Very soon Nehru's role was seen in Korean crisis of 1950, when he condemned North Korean aggression on South Korea. See, now Jawaharlal Nehru's role was been clearly seen when a Korean crisis took place in the year 1950. This time, North Korean was been aggressive towards to South Korea. Okay, North Korea was been aggressive towards to the South Korea. Jawaharlal Nehru was the person who completely protested this action of North Korea. The aggressive action of North Korea towards South Korea was been completely condemned by Jawaharlal Nehru. Similarly, when Anglo-French combination took action against Egypt on the Suez Canal issue in the year 1956, it was India squarely condemned the action. See, now India, as I told you, India was the one. Okay, Jawaharlal Nehru was the first person to coin the non-alignment movement. We want every country should be free from the colonial power. So similarly, when Anglo-French combination, okay, Anglo-British and France army, they combined together and they were taking action against Egypt, especially on which issue? On the issue of Suez Canal issue in the year 1956. This movement, this initiative of Anglo-French was also completely protested by Jawaharlal Nehru. Russian intervention in Hungary was also condemned. See, every action where one of the power, when they are trying to dominate other country, India was there to stand with that country. Every time India was there to protest against the action of these superpowers. Okay, got it. Similarly, Russia also has taken an initiative, especially towards Hungary. That action of Russia was also completely condemned by India. This was in this way India became a positive force in the world politics. See, this is how India stepped into the world politics, because we know very well India knows the problem faced during the British rule. Is it clear? What type of, how we were being dominated by the British power. So now, once we got independent, we got free from the hand of the British rule. Our country, especially India, always stood for the right of other countries. Any other countries, Anglo-French combination, when they were moving towards Egypt, India protested against the action of Anglo-French. India protested the action of Russia when Russia was intervening in Hungary. That action of Russia was also condemned. So this is how India slowly and slowly started stepping inside the world politics. After Nehru's death, India government followed the same policy. See, after the death of Nehru, it doesn't mean the Indian government stopped that policy. No, Indian government followed the same policy, the policy of non-alignment. Is it clear? The 7th summit was held at New Delhi in 1983. See, the 7th meeting, conference of non-alignment movement was being held in New Delhi in the year 1983. Here the resolution was being passed, in which the resolution completely demanded the withdrawal of foreign troops from Afghanistan and Cambodia. So in this conference, in the 7th conference of non-alignment movement, which was been held in New Delhi in the year 1983, in this conference, all the non-aligned non-aligned nations, they passed one resolution saying that the foreign troops should be immediately withdraw from Afghanistan and Kampuchea. The summit also supported the freedom struggle of people of Namibia, South Africa and Palestine and demanding ban of the test of nuclear weapons. See, this summit, this meeting, the 7th meeting which has been held in New Delhi, this also supported the freedom struggle because the people of Namibia, the people of South Africa and the people of Palestine, okay, they were also struggling for freedom. Their struggle, their movement was also supported by the summit, and not only that, they specially declared that the test of nuclear weapon in any house should be completely banned. In all the conference, in India upheld the policy initiated by Jawaharlal Nehru. See, whichever places the conference was being held of non-alignment movement, India completely upheld the policy which was being started by Jawaharlal Nehru, and always India tried to stand by the side of oppressed people all over the world, not only of one particular country, but the oppressed people of all over the world. That was being supported by India every time. Now, end of Cold War and shift in focus. The Cold War ended and Russia and America are now working in close cooperation with each other. The military blocs no longer exist. The big powers are trying for disarmament. In this change situation, the question arises, what kind of future is there for NAM? Yes, try to understand now. So finally, the Cold War came to an end. The two superpower blocs, Russia and America, they started working in cooperation with each other. Is it clear? They had a mutual understanding. Cold War completely stopped. Cold War completely stopped, Cold War completely ended, and these two superpowers, where there was a great fear of another outbreak of another great world war between Russia and America, it was completely stopped, and these two countries started working with each other. The big power, the military blocs ended up, the big power, they tried to disarmament. Now the situation was completely changed. Now in this changed situation, a big question comes. What will be the future of NAM? What will be the future of NAM? Because NAM had established, okay, just for this Cold War, you know very well, not to support either of the two superpower blocks, you know very well. Now the Cold War ended, the two superpower blocks are working with each other, with cooperation. Now what will be the future of NAM? NAM has virtually lost its political relevance after the end of the Cold War, but still it's continued to be an effective forum for seeking economic justice. See, after the end of the Cold War, obviously, slowly, the NAM started losing its political relevance. Okay, it started losing its political relevance. But also, remember one thing, still, NAM continues to be very effective organization, especially to get the economic justice. Is it clear? Got it? With the emergence of neocolonialism, NAM has become, excuse me, okay, with the emergence of neocolonialism, okay, NAM became very, very relevant. So it became the example for other organizations, because a number of small and weak states who are unable to preserve the sovereignty because of the interference of international financial institutions like the World Bank and others. Say, there were many small and the weak states who were not able to protect their sovereignty. They were every time, there were great fear that any moment, any time, the other powerful country may come and colonize them. Okay, and some are interfering in their financial institutions, like some of the financial institutions were interfering them, especially like World Bank and others. Is it clear? Now, these institutions very often try to impose their own decision on those states. This, like some of the financial institutions like World Bank and some institutions were there, they always try to put on their own decision on those states, because those states were very weak, those states were very small, they were not able to do anything. So this financial institution played a vital role to impose their own decision on those states. This has become a challenge to democracy in those states, obviously. When or any sort of financial institution, when they are imposing their own decision on the states, obviously the democracy is being challenged abroad. The democracy will be challenged. After the disintegration of Soviet Russia, America has become the most powerful state in the world politics. Say, Finally, Soviet Russia disintegrated. It broke down into small independent nations. Finally, after that, America became one of the most powerful state in world politics. Now, world politics were being completely controlled by America. Thereafter, it was been observed that America took unilateral action in Afghanistan and Iraq. See, so finally, it was been found America started taking their own action, their own decisions, especially on Iraq as well as Afghanistan. So in this situation, it is non-alignment movement which can take an active part to prevent the worldwide domination of America. So now NAM will not allow America to dominate worldwide now. See, I've told you, when America became the most powerful state in world politics, immediately they started taking their own decision over Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, under this situation, under this condition, it is NAM who can take an active part so that NAM can stop worldwide domination of America, and NAM will not keep quiet and stay when America will dominate world. NAM also had played its previous role in achieving universal peace. You know very well. NAM had really played a vital role to achieve peaceful in world, disarmament, and the development of many small states. See, this role has already played by NAM. NAM is now seriously thinking of reshaping the United Nations. See, non-alignment, another thought of non-alignment movement is to reshape the United Nations, especially the Security Council, which can make it more efficient. Is it clear? So they wanted to make more efficient. NAM wanted to reshape the United Nations, especially one of the most important body of United Nations, that is Security Council. Okay, now there is no doubt that in near future, the non-alignment movement may become a major force in world politics like before. See, in coming future, there is no doubt. Okay, there is no doubt in the coming future, this movement, NAM, non-alignment movement, might be one of the most important force in the world politics. See, this has to remember. We cannot say after the end of the Cold War, NAM completely dissolved. It's not that. Okay, still NAM is existing. So in coming future, non-alignment movement might become one of the most important force in world politics like before. Okay, my dear children, let me end up my class out here. So this was for today. In our next class, we'll be moving towards to Sino-Indian War. Thank you very much.